this woman named Elizabeth Koch, and not from Coca-Cola, soda, but pronounced the same way. Her daddy is worth over $60 billion, okay? And she can help you with your life, though. She's definitely an empath.
Say you're in a relationship and you guys break up. What do you do?
She's the daughter of the right-wing political force. Charles Koch is working to bridge societal divides. And I really think she reminds me, I put it on Twitter, of Nancy Saltzman from NXIVM, the one who was beneath Keith, who was doing the videos and things. And if you don't know about the Koch brothers, they're heavily involved in oil. You know, she's a billionaire by birth, but she's got a complex about it because, you know, it's unfair. It's not her fault, which it's not her fault. But now she's going to teach you, the lowly person, how to be a better human in the world. This is the thing. This is like the company, right? Called Unlikely Collaborators. Now, this is her whole concept. The only way forward is inward. Question everything, starting with yourself. The journey to understanding others and your place in this beautiful, batshit, melodic, madcap, radiant, ridiculous world starts with understanding who you are beneath your stories. So that's what her life purpose is, by starting this nonprofit organization that's going to talk to you about your perception box. We want to see, what is the perception box?
This is a great opportunity to ask you, Elizabeth, what is his perception box?
Well, Christoph, if I said to you that every human being who has ever lived and will ever live exists inside a perception box, what would that mean to you?
Nothing.
The way we describe perception box at our parent organization, Unlikely Collaborators, is it's this invisible mental box that every human being alive lives inside that distorts their perceptions. It distorts our ability to understand one another and to understand ourselves.
And especially me. And because people have perceived me wrong. I'm actually a really good person, okay?
It's made from the material of our beliefs. Sometimes at Unlikely, we call them stories. For example, our cognitive distortions, catastrophizing, magnifying, personalizing, labels, polarized thinking, and all the biases, confirmation bias, negativity bias. Now, a lot of those distortions, they may seem like beliefs we have about other people. And that's definitely a huge part of perception box.
Again, it's like, are you a psychologist? Are you a therapist? Have you done any training in anything? If you're so interested, she went to like writing school, okay, for like fiction writing or whatever. Wonderful. But why are you now so obsessed with confirmation bias and teaching people about perception? Why don't you go and get actual schooling? It's because of the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's like the less you know about something, the more highly convinced you are you know everything. She could afford it. My God, she's got $60 billion at her disposal. If she wanted to go to Harvard for fucking perception, she could do it. Or start her own university about this. She can. She wouldn't want to do that because it would change her own theory and therefore ruin the allure that it's all a lot more complicated than just changing your perception and choosing joy. You know, come on.
But beneath all those distorted beliefs we have about other people are the distorted beliefs we have about ourselves. And we get these beliefs when we're very young. We're so young, they even have almost a childlike language to it. I'm not good enough. I don't matter. I'm unlovable. I'm not safe. I'm bad. Now, it seems like when we become adults,
he looks like he's being held hostage. He's like, I don't know how I got here, but I'm here, and my family now knows I'm okay.
Some of you might be skeptical about this. I'm going to give you some examples of when adults are being motivated by childhood perception box beliefs. Guy in a meeting, he's hogging all the airtime, bragging a lot, always trying to get credit. What's that about? What's this guy doing? He's trying to prove that he matters. His perception box belief is, I don't matter. One more example. A person who's super controlling, really stubborn, micromanages everyone around them. What's that about? Well, that person is likely running a perception box story, I'm not safe.
Couldn't that just be bossy? Or couldn't they just be like taking their stress out from a bad marriage or something on the coworkers. Like there's many different reasons. Maybe they had a childhood that wasn't good. Maybe they have concerns about money. Maybe they have an addiction they're hiding. Like there's a million things. Oh, they're not safe. That's it. Simple. What if life was this simple? Would we all be here talking about this, discussing these things for hours on end? No, we'll be out there, all millionaires, living on an island somewhere, enjoying ourselves. But yet, no. Only you're doing that, Elizabeth.
Will you please tell everyone the science behind perception box?
Your brain is a prediction engine that's based on your particular unique genetic inheritance and physiology.
Just need to comment on his shirt for a minute. Doesn't it look like a far out version of like a slum? Now I hate to say that because that sounds offensive and I don't mean it offensively, but doesn't that what his shirt look like? It's a bunch of houses stacked on top of each other. What an odd choice to be sitting next to a billionaire, an inherited wealth billionaire, to wear a shirt like that.
But the beliefs that we're more narrowly focused on at Tiny Blue Dot fit into two main buckets, and they both have to do with conflict. The beliefs that put us into conflict with other people, and the beliefs that put us into conflict with ourselves.
Oh, okay. So it's everyone's perception that rich people live a more privileged, safer, better life. Maybe not better, but all those other things I said. Safer, more opportunity, more fulfilling perhaps lives than someone who's born poor and trying to get out of the system, but is finding it difficult to get out of. That's just a perception. Me and her are actually the same, even though she was born into every opportunity and possibility in the world. It's just like, okay. Now let's take a look at her website for this nonprofit. The perception box, trademarked, of course. You can't have a project without a trademark, literal TM perception box. These people, man, are so crazy. Has the power to distort your reality and leave you feeling isolated, disconnected, and fearful. By asking sometimes contradictory but always consequential questions, we'll show you how to understand and work with your perception box, how to overcome the limiting beliefs that hold you back, expand the possibilities of perception, and invite in new ways of seeing and being seen. Okay, does this not, again, sound like NXIVM? Like, join us. We're going to teach you in our compound in Albany, New York, how to open and expand your mind by dating the leader. Instead of calling it ego work, we're going to call it perception box. Unlikely collaborators exist to untangle the stories that tell us who we ought to be. Again, that's another self-help trope that I hate. Become the person you were always meant to become. I think I'm the same person I was since I was born. I'm living in the same body. My brain is the same brain. Yes, I've evolved. Yes, I've changed. I have many, many feelings that have gone up and down and all around in roller coaster time. It's still all me, and that's how human beings are. It's not who I ought to become. Like, I'm the same person. I can improve in certain ways and I can get worse in certain ways. I hate this perception that people can just become a new person. I've never seen it happen. If you have an example of it, I would love to see it, but I just think it's a stupid idea that makes people continue to buy this crap and go on retreats over and over again because they're like, one day I'll be the person I ought to be. It's like, you already are the person you ought to be. It's who you are. We gather people in the process of detangling. Okay, we gather vulnerable people. We question our questions. We doubt our doubts. We listen hard enough to hear ourselves. And then the knots begin to loosen. We discover something surprising. Joy. They don't choose joy here. They discover joy. It's always been there, right there, in the center of our knots, waiting for us to notice it. That's when the things that make us suffer become the things that make us laugh. Okay. What the? Bruh. Okay, even as a young girl, Elizabeth Koch was keenly aware of her family's extreme wealth. My beloved parents, they were paranoid about raising spoiled pieces of, and so I heard about it a lot, and I could see how other people responded to us, she said. I sensed it everywhere, she added. I didn't get that it was about the family. I'm just seeing that it's about me, so I must be bad. She decided to dedicate her life to one pursuit. To not be hated. Same girl, same. Koch, 47, is the daughter of Charles Koch, 87, the billionaire, industrialist, climate change boogeyman, and far-right political force. His wealth is estimated at roughly $66 billion, more money than any of us will ever see, touch, or feel, or even be close to or understand the perception of in our lifetime, unfortunately. In a 2007 essay for Smith Magazine, she described her young adulthood as, quote, panic attacks and meltdowns and doctors and pharmaceuticals and terrifying my parents and staring down the dark well of nothing you do will ever be good enough, you privileged waste of flesh. I mean, I'm sure that's her experience. It's just so interesting that this is what's come out of that feeling, as opposed to, I'm very blessed. I'm going to dedicate my life to helping people less fortunate. No, we're going to fund my theories on life and teach people how to change their perceptions. A couple years later, she lied to classmates at Syracuse University, where she was working on an MFA in fiction, insisting that her name was pronounced Koch. No relation to those Kochs, the ones they may have read sinister things about. Okay, so let's take it aside and read a little bit of this essay from Smith Magazine that was linked in this article. It's called The World Tour Compatibility Test, Grand Finale. And it's part travelogue and part convoluted love story. The World Tour Compatibility Test is a series of true stories set in exotic locales as two American writers decide whether to break up or move in together. Relatable, right? Everyone's been there. Everyone's decided if they're going to move in with their boyfriend while traveling through Japan, right? Okay. Outside, no one is around, probably because Japanese people don't do things like linger in museums past closing time just to piss people off. We are hungry and thirsty, but the only food source we find is a vending machine that sells liquid candy bars. Kit Kat soda, fizzy coffee, orangesicle drinks. They look disgusting. I want to try one of each. Todd looks skeptical. Quote, for the memories, I say, because I know Todd would trade in his grandmother for a good story. We unload our change into the machine and purchase 8 different cans and taste each one. None are worth a second sip. Todd carries several to the nearest trash, only to discover that what he thought was a trash can is in fact a mailbox. Quote, just line them up on top of the machine, I say. Maybe a homeless person will find them. We look around. No sign of a homeless person. What do you think they do with their homeless people here? Quote, they probably hide them wherever they hide the trash, Todd says. I laugh and try to take his arm, but he rips it away from me. I, in my whole entire life, would never think I could afford to purchase 8 things out of a vending machine in one go. So them feeling like they could just buy it all was already unrelatable to me.
I want to be relatable.
The second part is that you're going to put your half-drinking soda cans out for homeless people and then ask, where do they keep their homeless people? In the trash? Ha ha ha. It's hard for me to sympathize with someone who has like these insecurities about being rich while people are literally dying from starvation in the same earth at the same time. It's very weird. Miss Koch's anguish may strike you as entirely understandable. Money can be corrosive, especially for the generation that didn't make it. Or you may have the opposite reaction. It must be really, really hard, eye roll, to be an heiress to one of the biggest fortunes ever accumulated, who graduated from an Ivy League University, Princeton, and is now married to a successful biotech entrepreneur. They recently vacationed in Bali. When Miss Koch first came on my radar, I was firmly in the second camp. A publicist named Scott Rao had called to propose an article on Miss Koch and her nonprofit organization, Unlikely Collaborators, which is all about self-investigation. According to its website, the organization is dedicated to the creation of provocative? Why is it provocative? According to its website, the organization is dedicated to the creation of provocative experiences that help you face who you think you are. Ooh, that is a cult, set up as a cult right there. The site adds, our experiences use a process of self-investigation that encompasses principles and practices from Eastern and Western thought, meditation, psychology, and neuroscience, designed to expand your understanding of self, others, and the whole damned world. Oh, brother. Miss Koch started Unlikely Collaborators in 2021 after emerging from years of depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, and eating disorder, and a stint in a mental institution. Okay, Glad that you got out of that. Why do they immediately turn around and go, I'm now going to teach you? So far, Unlikely Collaborators has given millions of dollars to various partners and earmarked at least $100 million for the next few years. Suddenly, Ms. Koch stood before me with outstretched arms, soliciting a hug. Before we begin, she said, would you like a blanket? I declined, and we settled into a conference room. I expected her to be guarded, in keeping with her father's approach to the news media. Instead, she spoke excitedly for nearly 2 hours, telling me about her circuitous path to middle age, salting her sentences with profanity and referring to herself as, quote, privileged, pasty white girl from the Midwest. At least she's somewhat self-aware. Okay. She talked about exploring pain holes with a therapist and going on 2-week silent retreats. She insisted that she was apolitical. I think if you wanted me to believe you're truly apolitical and like the people's person, which is what she kind of appears like she wants to be perceived as, like denounce the money and do it on your own. But they won't. Mostly, Ms. Koch wanted to explain something called the perception box, a term she trademarked in 2021. Unlikely Collaborators is built around the concept, which Ms. Koch wants to use to prompt a global movement of self-investigation. Again, I just think this is her response to people who treated her badly because they think that she's a rich, pasty white girl from the Midwest and that she's privileged and that she's faced no adversity in her life and she cannot deal with a world like that. So now she's going to change the world as opposed to dealing with reality, which is what we all have to do every single day. Okay, sorry. Unlikely Collaborators intends to help people become aware of their perception boxes through, you guessed it, workshops, lectures, and summits. Again, how every one of these dumb personal development, self-help companies operate. And then if they are like NXIVM, which is the leap I'm making, they become cults. That's how they recruit people in these group training sessions. That's how it works. Why haven't we just become aware of that by this point? Like if you're going to show up to one of these things and you're open-minded, you are their target. You are their mark to indoctrinate into either the business funnel of buying coaching, going to seminar, buying all the shit and staying invested, or becoming a weird follower of their upcoming religion called perception boxology. And, you're going to be living on a compound in 6 months. More recently, she has been offering a workshop titled, What I Think You Think About Me. This is one woman's quest to change all the people who said she was rich and annoying through this group. Unlikely Collaborators also plans to publish books and eventually produce films with perception box themes. Please don't. That's exactly what NXIVM did. They had the documentary filmmaker guy. They were making videos and movies and things about healing Tourette's and all that. And they had the retreats and the summits. They had the in-person events and the workshops. What is different here? Nothing. It's the same shit. It's the same concepts too of don't be a victim in life. Change your reality. You control your reality. Push yourself to the limits. If you want to, be a successful person, you have to live here and dedicate yourself to me. She jumped to her feet and started writing on a whiteboard. Oh, the big whiteboard that every self-help person also uses on stage to make you feel like they're doing something, like you're brainstorming when they're literally writing okay, what do we think about when we think of our business? What do we need? Okay, slogan. Yeah, slogan. Okay, what else? Customers. Yes, good answer, girl. Okay, what else? Yeah, money. Okay, now, how can I help you get there? I can get you all these things by signing up for my course. People who prattle on about wellness and self-investigation can be exhausting. Oh no, not another trendy product or program or yoga class or brain exercise or therapy or gauzy self-help book. McKinsey & Company estimates that wellness is a $1.5 trillion global industry with annual growth of up to 10%. Sleep consultants, ketamine clinics, cleanses, detoxes, nutraceuticals, meditation apps, wellness tourism, Instagram influencers peddling holistic everything. I agree. So why is this article being written? Some of what I hear about in the wellness space makes my eyes roll, said Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett, a neuroscientist and professor of psychology at Northeastern University. As far as I can tell, Elizabeth is trying really hard to make sure everything she does is consistent with our best available guess of what's going on scientifically. This part was not originally in this article, and that's what people were really upset about, because this person who he talked to, Dr. Barrett, now it's been added, received money from Elizabeth Koch's thing. And of course she's going to speak nice about her. Obviously, if you're getting $900,000, I'm not saying that's what the amount was, but if you were, or potentially could get $900,000 from someone, and a reporter called you and said, hey, what do you think about this person? You'd be like, amazing, the best person I've ever dealt with in my life. Like, yeah, so not completely ethical. And the fact that they added it back in, good, I'm glad, but that was not originally there. Dr. Barrett's research lab at Northeastern has received grant funding from Unlikely Collaborators, and she is now a paid advisor to the organization. So that, conflict of interest, if I've ever heard one before. And she was supposed to be like the rational voice in this article, either defending or supporting the efforts. So it's an unbalanced article. Ms. Koch is self-conscious about coming across as one of those hippy-dippy woo-woo people, but there is also no way around it. Ms. Koch is a bit woo-woo, even by California standards. She seeks out the occasional shaman, of course she does, as part of her own mental health journey. She has explored psychedelics as medicine. They all have. I found her easygoing and upbeat. Yeah, when you have billions of dollars at your disposal, I would hope so. She laughed when I asked how much money she had inherited. I pressed, and Mr. Rouse, seated nearby, piped up with no comment. So you're cool enough to like change everyone's perception, but you won't share how much you've inherited from your dad. That doesn't sound fair to me. Are you going to be open, or are you going to be strategically closed? Because it seems a little odd. It is possible that Ms. Koch will turn Unlikely Collaborators and her perception box credo into a success. This isn't a 3 to 5 year plan, said Mr. Gorin, the financial and operations chief. She has a multi-decade vision. Yeah, because you don't need to make money at it. You can just continue to fund it until you decide you don't want to anymore.
All right, that's the gist of that article. Let's take a look now at her Instagram account.
I officially have more Instagram followers than Elizabeth Koch. She may have billions of dollars, but she does not have billions of followers. And we all know what is more valuable in this world. Let's hear from her.
Say you're in a relationship and you guys break up. What do you do?
Jump off a bridge?
Do you tend to want to just move on really quickly? Just go right back into those dating apps and just find somebody, anybody to replace that person? Or do you tend to be a person who wants to withdraw, to ask the question why, to go deeply inside and try to figure out what went wrong? There's not a good or bad or a right or wrong to either side of these situations. But what you do want to understand is what's driving you, what's motivating you to want to either move on or to retreat and ask the question why. If you're the type of person who likes to move on, is what is motivating you fear of falling into despair?
I think we should just end the internet. I think we've learned enough. I think this experiment has proven that we do have a cap in how much access to each other we should have. It is feeling dystopian that billionaires are setting up their phones and talking to us or to anyone, the general public, about what you should do if you break up with your boyfriend. With no training, with no background, with just like, I declare myself able to speak to you, whoever you may be on the other side of the screen, with authority and confidence. It really is so bizarre, and I hate it.
I don't know anyone that doesn't feel completely stuck in shitty emotions. It can really feel like, I'm going to be stuck in anxiety forever. I'm going to be stuck in sadness forever, in depression. But wait a minute. Is that really true?
I wish you would take that $100 million, and I mean this seriously, and help fund therapists that are licensed and qualified and have gone through school and have put in the hours and have been supervised by a mentor and are going to this continuing education and are dedicated and are promising legally and ethically that they do not want to cause harm to their patients and get people of all walks of life in the door, break down the stigma of therapy, and help people afford medication through psychiatrists, and also have it work in tandem with or just therapy on its own. Because that is one of the two biggest barriers in my opinion. And again, I don't have any expertise on this matter either, but except for as a patient, stigma against going or you having an issue or being a mentally ill person because you're seeking therapy and help. That's a problem still in the United States for sure. And access to affordable and enough sessions where it's actually helpful. If you go to a therapist one time and it costs $150, that's not really going to help you long term, most likely. It's not going to help you any more than going to this woman's retreat or whatever. It's like going to the gym. You have to go a lot to receive the benefits. It takes a long time, depending on what your traumatic events are or what your history is, to get to those root problems, to build a relationship. And so all this studying and all this like companies and peoplehoods and like we have the solution already. It's therapy, in my opinion. People just don't have the right access, and that's what's holding us back. It's like, why is there still mental health if there's a solution already? It's like, because no one can afford to go, and the world looks down on you if you try to help yourself. That's what's the problem.
This Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, we are going to explore what happened in the past and how those negative emotions, those very emotions that we did not want to feel, actually showed us the way out. It gave us the wisdom that we needed to take a step out of the pain and out of the suffering and into a productive new place. So if that sounds good to you, if you're eager to get not just hope, but an actual knowing that you're going to get through whatever it is that you're feeling right now, and that those negative emotions are going to be the very thing to teach you how to step out of it, join us for 1 hour at 1 p.m. Pacific time this Thursday. This will be such a rewarding experience. See you guys there.
You guys will get through it. This is from July 2020. You guys from her, compound, I'm sure that's locked down from all possible intruders. I'm going to help you guys get through this by talking to you via Instagram. It's just so ridiculous. I don't know. She doesn't have the charisma either. No offense.
There have been a wide range of reactions to what happened to George Floyd.
Oh, God.
I found myself in a state of absolute paralysis this weekend, heavy paralysis. I'm a person of privilege. What the hell am I going to add to the conversation? If anything,
nothing.
I felt like whatever I said would be causing more harm. On the other hand, this is what Unlikely Collaborators is.
Oh, no.
And what we do.
Oh, no.
We bring together
using George Floyd's death to promote your nonprofit. Oh no. This is very Jay Shetty of you.
We posted and prayed and then started another day. But when George Floyd died with a knee on his neck, something deep inside me got checked.
I think about this sometimes because I'm like, I'm a big free speech advocate, and not in the conservative way where it's like, don't tell me what to do, but in the sense of like, I think when you try to suppress speech because you're labeling it negative, is a very slippery slope, and you shouldn't do that. And I don't think the government should do that, and I don't think people should do that to other people. If I say something you hate and don't agree with, make your own YouTube video about how I'm a piece of shit. Like, I am not going to say don't do that. I'm not going to call the police and say somebody's talking about me. Like, obviously, you have a right to your opinions. I have a right to my opinions. And as long as you're not causing someone physical harm or saying this is their address, go and kill them, I think you should be able to spew your bad beliefs. Now, that's a hot take because I know people say, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And I think, if it is a slippery slope, if you start to cut people off from expressing themselves, the other side gets in power, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, you can't say this, this, and this, which, you know, I don't know. It's if you start to repress any speech or suppress, it can grow into this thing where it's like, now we can't say anything. And I don't think that's fair or good for democracy. That's a side note. So when I think about her and I'm like, what should she say? Like, what would be good for her to say? And I honestly think it's nothing. The best thing for a billionaire to say in this situation is nothing. And it doesn't mean I don't think that she shouldn't be allowed to speak. I just think the best thing for people like this who have feelings about this topic, share it internally. Go to a peoplehood class and share it there. And keep it to yourself. It's like, read the room. We don't want to hear billionaires' opinions on social justice in America personally. Like, your opinion's not wanted here. Now, should you have the right to say it? Of course. Do I want to hear about it? No, I don't care what she says. It's like...
Have you guys been feeling restless lately?
Yeah.
Are your weekends and weekdays just completely bleeding together?
Yeah, totally.
I've been just stumbling from one Zoom meeting to the next, kind of not even conscious of what day it is.
You're crazy,
not
girl.
Not even conscious of what food I'm putting in my mouth. The other day, I couldn't tell the difference between salsa and Cocoa Pebbles, which is really sad because...
It's so sad. Oh my God, she couldn't tell the difference. Let's all take a moment. Her perception box was tainted. The Cocoa Pebbles taste like salsa.
I love Cocoa Pebbles. Guess
What?
I've got great news for you. If this has been your experience,
So excited.
you can actually pretty quickly and simply have a completely new and wondrous experience of the room in which you've been quarantined for the last 4 weeks. No LSD required. Not even microdosing. No crazy holotropic breath work, no rebirthing, none of that.
Not
All that's
rebirthing.
required is engaging your 5 senses in a really specific way that maybe you haven't done since you were 5 years old.
Oh my God, tell me more.
So if you're interested
I'm so interested.
in cloaking your entire room
I am.
with this filter of wonder and awe, join us on Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And together we'll explore how just by using our 5 senses, we can have a completely altered state, finding the beauty.
It's like, or you can just, if you feel restless in your, I'm assuming, multi-millions of dollars mansion, you can just, I can just take a stroll to the garden. I can go to the servants' quarters and just say hello. I can take a break, a leisurely walk to the theater. I can go in the bowling alley and throw a couple balls around. That would be good, too. I'll teach you how to do that in your mansion. Thanks, Elizabeth.
And the magic that's just behind the curtain of right now.
Wow, amazing. Okay, she's crazier than I thought. I'm sorry to say. She's a little cokier than I thought. Get it? A little cokier than I thought. Thank you. I've been Kia.